Hi guys! So in this video, I thought I would do a very popular video, and that is a college decision reaction video. But I'm gonna put my own little twist onto it, just because I already graduated high school and started university back in 2018, but that was before I started my channel. So it's not really going to be an actual reaction video. In this video, I thought I would share with you my university application experience just because I remember it like it was a few months ago, my acceptances, and my rejections, because spoiler alert, I did get rejected to some schools, and reveal what university I go to, just because I haven't actually said what university I go to yet. I also wanted to do this video just because I'm Canadian, so I do go to a Canadian school. Therefore, this is a Canadian university decision video. A lot of these videos I see out there are American, and although there are some Canadian videos out there, I still think there's a need for more, so that's why I'm creating this video. I'd like to think that my university application experience was quite interesting, just because when my high school gave all the seniors an orientation on how to apply to university, one of the guidance counselors specifically said, do not spend hundreds of dollars on applying to a whole bunch of different programs because you're only gonna choose one, and there's just no point in wasting all that money when you're not gonna attend that many programs. Well, I didn't listen to them because I applied to like 9 different programs when the usual amount for most people is around 4 or 5. I did that because I was interested in 2 different fields. I was interested in a science and an art, and I applied to the average amount of programs a normal person would apply to, except I did it per program. So when you add that up together, that equals 9 programs. The art I applied to is film, so I had my top choices for film, and then I had a few backup choices, and the other field I was interested in was kinesiology. So I had my top choice for kinesiology, and then I had my backups. See, for me, I knew for sure that I wanted to do film 100%, but in the case that I didn't get to my top choice film programs, I wasn't sure if I was going to go to one of my film backups or move over to kinesiology. So that is why I applied to a few programs on both sides. Before we get started in this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's just start off with the application part. So, as you know, I'm from Canada. More specifically, I am from the province Ontario. So in Ontario, we have something called OUAC, which stands for Ontario University's Application Center. So OUAC has a website where you can apply to all the Ontario universities on that one site, which makes it so convenient because it's all there. And to get started on OUAC, you have to create a profile. But in order to create your profile, you have to first get like a PIN or like a code. That PIN or code should be provided by your high school. So your high school will give you a PIN or code specifically for you, and you will use that code to create a profile for yourself on OUAC. After you finish creating your profile, that is when you can start applying to all the Ontario universities. But if your program requires supplementary submissions, that is a little bit different, because for those you have to go submit it on the actual school website. I've actually had to do a few of those. I will get into more details for those as I begin talking about each program I applied to. I also did apply to a school out of province, so the application was done a little bit differently, but I will get to explaining what I did for that a little bit later. So the first school I'm going to be talking about is Laurier. At Laurier, I applied to one program, but if I'm going to be honest, I can't really remember what that program was called. I do know it was a film studies program. To apply to this program, I did not have to submit any supplementary submission. It was just one of those programs where I just had to put it down in OUAC and just wait to hear a response from the school. What really attracted me to applying to Laurier is that in your 3rd year, you had the opportunity to study in Vancouver, BC, at the Vancouver Film School to learn the production side of film. This program was actually the first program I was accepted into. I got accepted into this program December 7th, 2017. The next school I'm going to talk about is Guelph-Humber. So at Guelph-Humber, I applied to the kinesiology program. Anyways, I applied to this program because I heard that Guelph-Humber classes are small and they're more hands-on. I really like that idea because, you know, in the future of kinesiology, you could possibly be working with patients. So to get an early head start, working hands-on will prepare you for future life. So that is why I applied to Guelph-Humber for kinesiology. This program was my second acceptance I received, and I got accepted into this program December 15th, 2017. The next school I'm going to be talking about is York University. So at York, I applied to 3 programs. The programs I applied to there are kinesiology, film studies, and film production. So at York, they had one of my top choices, and that was film production. The main difference between film production and film studies at York is that in film production, you get to be making films every single year. Whereas in film studies, you're studying film. But occasionally you can work on student films. I just don't think you have any classes where you're actually making your own film. That is why the film production program at York was one of my top choices, because I really wanted to make films every single year. So yeah, film production at York was one of my top choices, and then the film studies program was a backup. So York University was the 3rd school I received acceptances from, and I got accepted into York December 18, 2017. But I did not get accepted into all the programs on this date. On December 18th, 2017, I got accepted into the kinesiology program, and I got accepted into the film studies program. My application to the film production program at York was still pending at this time. And that is because for the production program, I did have to submit a supplementary portfolio. And in my portfolio, I had a short film I made, I had some writing material, and after the portfolio submission, you would have to do an interview. I submitted my portfolio, and then I went in for my interview around mid-February 2018. I just remember in my interview with the prof, we just started to talk about skating for a little bit in the interview. Oh yeah, and we also talked about film stuff, of course. I don't know, that was just kind of a shocker to me. I don't know how we got onto the topic of figure skating, but we did. But that brings me to my next acceptance. After my interview, the prof I was being interviewed by sent me to another room, and she just told me to wait there. I honestly don't even know what I was waiting for. I was just told to wait, so I waited. But then I found out I had to wait because I needed to talk to this other lady who on that same day as my interview was giving me my acceptance letter to the program. I got accepted into the film production program immediately after my interview, and that day was February 10th, 2018. I was kind of shook in the moment. I remember talking to that lady and I was just like, what? Sorry? Is this real? I just didn't really expect that. Yeah, so that was a day I got accepted into one of my top university program choices. And I say one of my top university program choices because I am such an indecisive person. So I didn't have an ultimate top choice. I had a few programs that were all my top choice. When I applied, I had it in my head that I wasn't going to get accepted into all of them. So I just thought I would put a few programs all together as my top choice. And then my decision on which program I would pick would be dependent on what I would get accepted into, because I definitely did not think I would get accepted into all of them. Okay, so that brings me to my next school, the University of British Columbia. Because this school was out of province, I could not apply to this school through OUAC. I had to apply to this school through the actual UBC website. If I can remember, I had to create my own account for the UBC website and of course enter all my information and pick the programs I wanted to apply to. So UBC was a little bit different. I think you were only allowed to apply to 2 programs, so you had your top choice and then they allowed you to apply for your second choice. So my top choice at UBC was again film production. My second choice was kinesiology. For the film production program at UBC, I also had to do a supplementary submission as well. For that, I submitted, again, a short film I made, and then I submitted some writing material as well. With UBC, even if your program doesn't require you to do a supplementary submission, you still have to do a statement of interest for them. Both the film production and kinesiology program at UBC were in my top choices. But here comes the sad part. On March 15th, 2018, I got rejected from the film production program at UBC. Yeah, so that happened. So this is also where UBC works a little bit differently. So because I was rejected from the film production program at UBC, then they would start considering me for my second choice at UBC, which was kinesiology. Sadly, I did not get accepted into that one either. I got rejected from both programs at UBC. At that moment in time, I don't think I was overly devastated that I didn't get accepted into either of my programs that I applied to. Not being accepted just told me that it was just not meant to be. It ultimately just made my decision-making process a lot simpler. Looking back onto it now, I can say that I'm glad that I didn't go to UBC, just because if I went, I wouldn't have some of the friends that I have today, and I would actually be living very far from home. If you've watched one of my previous videos where I tell you about the facts about living at home in university or college, you'll know that living at home, there is quite a few benefits to it as well. So if I did go to UBC, I wouldn't really get those benefits. Okay, so the next school I'm gonna be talking about is the University of Toronto, also known as UofT. So at UofT, I applied to the kinesiology program. This kinesiology program at UofT was my ultimate top choice when I'm referring to all the kinesiology programs I applied to. And I got good news from them, because a couple days after I got rejected from UBC film production, I got accepted into UofT kinesiology. And that day was March 18th, 2018. For this kinesiology program at UofT, I did have to submit a supplementary application. I had to submit a statement of interest. So here's a little story time. A few days before I got my acceptance email to UofT, I remember telling my mom that I didn't think I was gonna get into UofT because UofT sciences need, if not a 90, close to a 90 average. And I didn't think I was gonna get that. But it turns out I did get accepted. I was happy and I was like shocked at the same time, because I literally thought I wasn't gonna get in. Sometimes I feel like if you don't hope for it, you actually end up getting it. Whereas if you do hope for it, you don't end up getting it. I just wanna take a moment and just admire the UofT letter I was sent, because every school sends you a letter and they send you like a little package. But UofT goes above and beyond, and they send you something like this. I don't know if you can see this in the camera, but it literally looks like a wedding invitation. This is so pretty. I honestly thought this was pretty unique and cool, because it's just something I've never seen before. The actual information booklet of the program they give you is online on your student account, and believe me, it was a really thick PDF package. Okay, so the last school is Ryerson. At Ryerson, I only applied to one program, and that was again a film program. So the film program there was also one of my top choices because it was production based. So for that program, I also needed a portfolio as well. I remember I had to submit a short film and 2 writing pieces, I think. If I'm gonna be honest, I really struggled with that portfolio, because that portfolio actually had a topic that we had to follow, and the topic was the decisive moment. You know, it's really hard to create a short film about a decisive moment when I'm really indecisive. Ryerson was the last school I heard back from, and on May 17th, 2018, I got my rejection letter from Ryerson. Clearly, Ryerson and I was just not meant to be. Alright, so this brings me to the point of the video where I reveal my decision on which university I picked. I ended up picking York University's film production program. I ultimately decided on continuing with film. That is what I want for my future career, to be creating visual on-screen stories. If I turned down the opportunity of going to school for film production, I would probably never forgive myself. Alright guys, this brings me to the end of this video. If you're still watching this video right now, I hope you enjoyed my little story time of my university application experience in Canada. If I'm gonna be honest, I probably would have posted this video maybe like a year ago, right when I started up my YouTube channel again. But at that point in my life, I just didn't feel 100% comfortable with sharing that I got rejections from some schools. Back then, I kind of felt like they were like failures in a sense. but now I don't really mind sharing it just because I look at rejections as a positive thing now. Again, because A, it just meant that it wasn't meant to be, and B, rejections are something you can learn from. It's something that will help you become better at what you do in the future. You know, it just motivates me to just keep going and keep pushing, keep hustling, and keep improving myself for the next time. I'm gonna end this video here, so thank you again for watching this video, and be sure to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. Alright, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!
If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat. We can drive around to the sky and see meet. If it's fine by you, I'll take the passenger seat.